It's Monday the 25th of May. I'm in Fukuoka, Kyushu, Japan, or just outside Fukuoka. I'm out here by the sea at the beach in front of the first torii gate for the Iki Shrine. Like I said, here in Fukuoka, about 20-minute outside, 20-minute train journey outside the city, a pleasant walk from the train station through a pine forest up to this pleasant little spot. I'm going to take a quick walk through the forest and it should lead me on to some remnants of the wall that was built by the Japanese to repel Mongolian invasions back in the day. I can't think of the exact year or century just off the top of my head, but maybe we'll get some information when we're closer to the remains of the wall shortly. I've actually been in Japan for just over 24 hours now. I landed yesterday in Osaka and I was soon being reminded of just how easy travelling in Japan is and how enjoyable and convenient everything is. After landing in Osaka, I had a few hours in and around the airport area before catching another flight down to Fukuoka on a Japanese budget airline. But given the efficiency, the convenience, the comfort, you wouldn't have thought it was a budget airline. Not compared to what we're used to back home anyway. Just gonna walk up through here now, up through the forest. It's supposed to hit 30 degrees today. It's already 27 degrees, so it's just after 10 AM. Unfortunately, the forecast for the next 2 days is for it to absolutely hammer it down. So I was going to change what I had planned while I was here. I was thinking of taking a day trip down to Nagasaki, but I'm not sure I fancy being wet through. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure there'll be plenty to keep me occupied. Just going to walk through this little trail on this pine forest now. The flight here from Leeds Bradford via Amsterdam, pleasant experience. Decided for the first time ever to upgrade to business class, having received what seemed like a reasonable offer on check-in, and very much enjoyed the privacy, the convenience, the more civilised nature of flying in business class. The food was nice, but most of all got about 5 hours sleep on a lie down flat bed. So I actually arrived and felt like a human being, which isn't always the case after a long haul flight. I think I'll reserve full judgment until after I've flown home in economy class, because I've got a bad feeling that the experience might have soured me on flying long haul for a long time. Once I'm back with the peasants. But I got into Fukuoka just after 5 PM local time yesterday. Had a brief walk around the area around my hotel, the city centre. Does seem like a really pleasant place to live. I can understand why it ranks highly in all these rankings you see for livable cities. First Japanese city that I've been to that hasn't been ridiculously overcrowded, whether that's for locals or tourists. Just seemed nice and steady and calm. Obviously it was a Sunday evening, so that might change over the next few days. But the hotel's really well located. A short walk from the main train station. Fukuoka is really well connected. The airport is only 10 minutes and 2 stops on the subway outside of the city centre. So from landing to getting into my hotel room, it was no more than 20-25 minutes. It's got to be some kind of record. think I could spend plenty of time somewhere around here with a book in the sun and something nice to drink. While the weather's like this anyway. But yeah, Japan, just everything's so straightforward and easy. You know, even on the train stations where there's no English signage, which are very rare, because everything's colour coded and every station's got a numerical code. Even if, like me, you can't understand kanji, it's easy. Just find the number you need, you'll get to where you need to go quite easily. And I was quick to remember how good value everything seems to be. Had dinner at a chain beef bowl restaurant, although I actually went for chicken. £4, grilled chicken, rice, vegetables, free water, free sides in terms of salads. What more could you ask for? And this morning I was also reminded of just how good the bakeries are here. They call them French style bakeries, but if you ask me, the croissants I've had in Japan exceed those I've had anywhere in France. Well, France being overrated for anything isn't exactly a surprise. Haven't seen too many Western, or visibly obviously Western tourists around as of yet. And there are quite a few Chinese tourists in the bakery I was in this morning, and a lot of Korean tourists when I arrived at the airport, although it is just a very short hop certainly from Busan on the east coast of South Korea, so very popular destination for people to come to from Korea. Did have an amusing interaction when I landed in Osaka. I was coming off the plane heading towards the customs checkpoint after going through immigration, and I was sent on a route, quite a circuit it seemed, and I could see from further down the airport that there was a massive group of Chinese tourists who were on a much more direct route than I was, and I feared I was going to be stuck behind them for some time. I think a customs officer genuinely saw the look of horror on my face, and as I walked past, he just opened a rope for me to let me get through and cut in front of them. So thankfully I beat the mass ranks of a Chinese tour group through to the customs checkpoint and out of the airport. I was actually through immigration and customs, which involved giving my fingerprints twice, getting a photo taken twice in about 15 minutes. And because my plane landed early, I was actually out of the airport earlier than I was even due to land at the airport. So maybe the EU needs to come and take note of how Japan's system works. It certainly doesn't think about everything for 5 minutes after scanning it like the new EU system does. Okay, so it looks like we're at the top of the walls now, or the remnants of the walls. So 13th century, 1274, that is when I fought it well. So the Mongolian forces raided Hakata Bay, came ashore, and so to guard against a repeat attack a 20 kilometre long stone wall was built across the bay. So I'm going to imagine that these are actually reconstructed parts of the stone wall. Legend has it that the Mongolian attacks were more repelled by the winds rather than the walls. It's often the case in these historic battles. There's also a Japanese legend that Genghis Khan was actually a Japanese warrior. I'm not sure if it would have been the samurai era, but certainly a Japanese warrior who had been exiled for whatever reason and had disappeared off to Mongolia and came back, reinvented as Genghis Khan to try and recapture Japan. But apparently there's no evidence for that. Scroll of the invasions. So yeah, so it's nice for me to get a bit of ancient Japanese history from a source that isn't Shogun on the Disney Channel. On my previous trips, it's been very easy to focus on the modern day Japan. My next stop in terms of the next place I'll be based for a few days is Hiroshima, so I will be doing my World War II research there. I won't say it's something to look forward to, but it's something that surely should be interesting. And this really is a nice spot. But yeah, I think that actually might be it for a section of the walls. There are a couple of other sections of the walls that you can see within Fukuoka, which I might come across on my travels around the city in the next couple of days. But it's now just after 10:30. I've only had one coffee so far this morning as I attempt to fight off the tiredness. My body still thinks I should be very much in bed at this time given the 8-hour time difference. So I think I'll just walk along here. I think there's a park, some kind of marina over there. Find somewhere to have a coffee, then go about the rest of my day. So I think I shall end this little video just around here. I'll go into this nice semicircle, get a nice last sweeping view across the bay. And that's it for now.